Okay, guys, with completing the square, we talked about you want your a term, the number in front of x squared, you want that to be 1. If it's not, which is what we're going to work on today, you're going to make it be 1. So we're going to start on, these are the steps to do it, but we're going to start on number 7. We're going to go 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we're going to move on to the quadratic formula. So if you notice this, if we're going to complete the square, I just did all the versions of your test. There's 14 questions. There are some questions that just say solve. That means you do what you want. If it factors, factor it. If you want to complete the square, complete the square. If you want to use quadratic formula, use that. Then there's some that say solve using, and then you have to use the kind that they ask you to. So this is just the second part of your completing the square notes. When we complete the square, the a term, the number in front of x squared, has to be 1. If it is not, you divide everything by the a term. So divide by 3, by 3, by 3. So the reason we do that is we need our a term to be 1. So I have x squared plus 2/3 x. Now, what am I going to do with that negative 5/3? Where am I going to move it, right? We're going to move it to the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to say plus my box, and then I'm going to move 5/3 over. It becomes positive, and then I have plus the box. Now, everything is exactly the same that we did last week with completing the square. You take your b term. What is your b term, guys? 2/3. So you take your b term, 2/3, and you divide it by 2. All right, so we have a little bit of different math here. Keep, change, flip. I have 2/3 times what? 1/2. Good. What does that give me? 1/3. So 1/3, that's the magic number. That's going to go in my parenthesis over here on the left. X plus 1/3. Why am I making it positive? Why did I put a plus and not a negative? Because it is positive, right? 1/3 is positive there, so that's why. Now I'm going to square it, and that's what's going to go in my box. What is 1/3 squared? 1/9. So 1/9 goes here, and 1/9 goes here. The process of solving is exactly the same. This is just a little yuckier because you have fractions. So think about this, guys. Over here, you have 5/3 plus 1/9. Before I add those together, what do I need to get? Common denominator. What's the common denominator between 3 and 9? 9. So if I multiply the bottom here by 3, I get 9, correct? So I multiply the top and I get 15 plus 1 is what? 16/9. Everybody with me? All right. Now how do I get the square to go away? Take the square root. So I have x plus 1/3 equals, what goes in front of my square root? Plus or minus. What is the square root of 16? 4. And what is the square root of 9? 3. Good. And then what's my last step? We're going to subtract 1/3. So watch. Minus 1/3. So I have x equals, do I just leave it as positive, negative 4/3 minus 1/3? No. Guys, if I have positive 4/3 minus 1/3, what does that give me? 4 minus 1 is 3. 3/3 is 1, okay? If I have a negative 4/3 minus 1/3, that gives me what? Negative 5/3. Good. Now, would this problem have factored nicely? Yes. So if you have a question that says solve, try to factor it first.
Where did you get the 1 from?
When you have 4/3 minus 1/3, you get 3/3, which is your 1. Negative 4 minus 1 is negative 5/3, because this is plus minus. If it just says solve, you should always try to factor first. If it says solve by, then that's how you have to do it. Quadratic formula, completing the square, whatsoever. All right, let's move on to number 8. Again, when we complete the square, you want your a term to be what?
1.
1. Is it?
No.
No. So we're going to divide everything by what number? There you go. So this crosses out. You have x squared minus 4/3 x. What am I going to do with this negative 1/3? We're going to move it over. So plus your box, or square, however you want to say it. And then I have 1/3 plus the box. Everything is exactly the same now. You take your b term. What is your b term? -4/3. And you divide it by what? 2. That's -4/3 times 1/2, 1/2. What does that give you? -4/6, which is -2/3. So what's going to go on the left-hand side in my parenthesis? X minus 2/3, good, 2/3 squared, equals, now I have to square -2/3. When I square -2/3, what does that become? 4/9 here, and 4/9 here. So guys, we're adding, look, over here we're adding 1/3 plus 4/9. What do I need to get? Common denominator, which would be 9. So if I multiply the bottom here by 3, I get 9. If I multiply the top, I get what? Right? So this becomes 7/4. Perfect.
Wait, what? Huh?
I meant to put a 9. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said 4.
You were thinking about
Yeah. As soon as I wrote it, I'm like, nope. Okay, so what's my next step? How do I get squared to go away? Take the square root. Good. So I have x minus 2/3 equals, what goes in front of my answer? Plus or minus. What is the square root of 7? So leave it. What's the square root of 9? Good. One more step. We're going to add 2/3. Good, guys. So we're going to add 2/3 here, okay? So I have x equals. Can I combine? They both have the same denominator, which is super, but can I combine this? No. I'm going to rewrite it because I like my plus or minus to be in the middle. So I'm going to say plus minus root 7, like that. Whoops. 2 plus minus root 7/3. If you wanted to write plus minus root 7 plus 2/3, fine. If you want to leave it just like this, fine. Does not matter. I just like to write it all together if I can. Questions? Now, guys, look, I wrote 9 underneath so I could just go like in a square because I don't like to keep going zigzag back and forth. So go to 9. I'm doing 9, then I'm going to do 10. What's the problem? What's the issue with number 9? There's a 5 in front. What do I need to do? Divide everything by 5. Good, right? This process is exactly the same, guys. So this becomes x squared minus 7/5x. Check to make sure that that doesn't simplify. If it does, it'll make your computation easier. So just check to see if it simplifies. If it doesn't, no big deal, keep moving. And then what do I do with this -1/5? Let's move it to the other side. Add it to the other side. So now we can complete the square. So again, we take our b term. What is your b term? -7/5 divided by 2, which is going to be -7/5 times what? 1/2. Good. What's this going to give me? -7/10. All right, no worries. So now my parenthesis over here is what? X minus 7/10 squared equals, what happens when I have -7/10 squared? 49/100. Okay, so I have 1/5 plus 49/100. Well, what's a common denominator between 5 and 100? 100? How would I make 5 into 100? Multiply by 20. If I multiply the bottom by 20, I get 100. If I multiply the top by 20, I get 20. So what's 20 plus 49? Okay, so I have 69/100. Now I take the square root. What goes in front of my answer? Plus or minus. Does 69 break down? Does 3 go into 69? What's 6 plus 9? 15? Does 3 go to 15? Yes. But does 9 go into 69? No. So 69 is not going to break down, guys. Just square root 69. And then, what's 100 become? 10. What's my last step? Plus 7/10 to both sides. Good. If you guys wanted to leave it right there, that's perfectly fine. I would not, just because I don't like the way it looks. I'm going to rewrite this as 7 plus minus root 69 over 10. Questions? Say this was 8 over 10. Should I simplify it? Yes. I mean, it's not, but we always want to simplify, guys. All right, scoot along. Let's do number 10. All right, this one's a tad different. How? We do have to divide. What do we have to divide by? -1. We want this to be positive, so -1. In a sense, guys, what does this do? It just changes all the signs. Just because, excuse me, x squared minus 3x. This is a -5 now, correct? So when I move it over, it becomes what? Perfect. Now we take our b term and do what? Perfect. So what's in my parenthesis over here? X minus 3 over 2. Perfect. And I square that equals, how do I figure out what goes in the box? Square top and bottom. What does that become? 9 over 4. What you do to one side, you do where? To the other. Good. So I have 5 over 1 plus 9 over 4. I need to get a common denominator. What's my common denominator between 1 and 4? 4. If I multiply the bottom by 4, I multiply the top by 4, so this becomes 20. Good. So when I add those two together, 29 over 4. Good. Now we're going to finish solving this and be done. How do I get the square to go away? Yep. Okay, square root 29 over 2. I agree. What's one thing we're missing? Perfect. 29 does not break down, but the square root of 4 does. So perfect. So now we're going to do what? Add 3 over 2. Perfect. So plus 3 over 2. 3 over 2 doesn't simplify. Nothing else simplifies. If you want to leave it right there, you're fine. I'm going to say 3 plus minus root 29 over 2. Has anybody finished their homework for this yet? I am not sure. Okay, listen to me. I'm not sure if WebAssign wants you to separate it like this or if you can leave it all together. So if you know that your math is right, just try entering it different ways. I'm not 100% sure. I can look when we're done here, though. All right, you guys good? Okay, perfect.